At a number 10 spot, we have the Mount Baker Theater. Opening up in 1927, the Mount Baker Theater in Bellingham was haunted from day one. Unidentified sounds, chilly spots, strange disembodied voices, balls of light, and even the odd apparition are just a few of the stories that have been noted here. As well, many guests have reported the ghost of a young woman named Judy here, and it's said that she has constant crushes on male visitors and will choose to usher them into their seats if she does have a crush on them. People know it's Judy when they begin to hear their names across the floor and feel as if someone is touching them on their back or shoulders. Another spirit trapped in this hotel is a cat that is found in the basement of the theater. Many claim that whenever they go to the basement and catch a glimpse of this cat, something is bound to happen, as with any black cat theory. Oddly enough, Mount Baker Theater keeps a ghost light on stage during the off hours, claiming that they ward off the evil ones from the theater, but who really knows if this works like they say they do?
But what haunts the theater is as varied as the witnesses who felt it. Maureen believes it could be the spirit of her son Michael, a theater employee in love with the building.
After he died, I was in here at a performance one night, and I felt a little tugging right up here in my hair. And I thought, oh, it's Michael.
Margaret believes it's an impish woman named Judy, who may have lived on the site long before the theater was even built. This may be a ghostly picture of her.
I think she's nice. I don't think she's malicious, but I think she does like to tease, especially the men that are here alone.
At a number 9 spot, we have the Maury Island incident. Weeks before the infamous Roswell accident, Red Krisman and Harold Dahl had their own encounter that shocked many people at the time. It all started on June 24, 1947, when pilot Kenneth Arnold claimed to see a string of 9 shiny unidentified flying objects traveling around 1,200 miles per hour past Mount Rainier. After it got nationwide attention, many people came to say that they too have seen the UFOs flying. Eventually, the story would be relayed to Red Krisman and Harold Dahl, who both claimed to have fragments from the supposed UFO they saw. When they interviewed Harold, he would go on to say, quote, "On June 21st, 1947, in the afternoon about 2 o'clock, I as captain was steering my patrol boat close to the shore of a bay on Maury Island. On board were 2 crewmen, my 15-year-old son and his dog. As I looked from the wheel on my boat, I noticed 6 very large donut-shaped aircraft. They also made a claim that they were approached by a man in black later on who told them to never speak of the incident again. Eventually the FBI started to investigate this case and stated that this incident was a hoax, but who knows? This really wouldn't be the first time the US government was hiding UFOs, right? Number 8, the Black Cat at Stevens Hall. Built in 1895 in Pullman, Washington, the Stevens Hall was once praised as the quote, most beautiful building on the campus. But once people started stepping foot inside, they took back these claims. Kind of like when you meet someone that is physically attractive, but just has a terrible personality. This is that place. It all started as a hangout spot for students at Washington State University. Here they would dance, drink, and tell stories to one another. One story told at the hall was Edgar Allan's Poe's The Black Cat. It was read on Halloween every single year until one year the students believed the story had come to life. Eventually many people would see sightings of this black cat in Stevens Hall. Then on one Halloween, a black cat stood in front of the house's mother's door, which is basically the person who runs the house, and when the students opened the door to see what the black cat was hiding, they found that the girl behind the door had passed away, and many people believed it was caused by this black cat. Number 7, the Iron Goat Trail. In 1893, a railroad was constructed across the Cascades of Washington. This would be great news because it would finally mean that Seattle would be connected with the Midwest and many other states. Except once trains started to use this railroad, they ran into many problems. To begin with, trains with engines on each end had to struggle up switchbacks to reach the summit. And the worst part was, since it was in the mountains, snow could reach up to 25 feet high in some places, which would just have hundreds of people digging out in the snow in order for the train to go through. Then in February 1920, the deadliest avalanche in American history hit the railroad, derailing carts and killing a total of 96 people. And at a time, the rescue mission was nearly impossible due to the extreme weather conditions present on the mountain. Now many hikers come across the area where the accident occurred, and many find themselves leaving immediately the moment they got there. This is because some hikers have reported hearing noticeable noises, screams coming from the tunnels, while others have spotted apparitions of men looking zombie-like walking towards them. All these components make this place one of Washington State's most haunted places. Number 6, Port Townsend, Washington. Considered to be one of America's most haunted cities, Port Townsend definitely has a dark history to back up that claim. The thing about this place is that paranormal activity isn't in a single building or two, but they say that spirits roam freely around the town and there's not a place in town where you don't have the chance to see a ghost. For example, the Manresa Castle located in the city was once visited by ghost adventures and they supposedly captured children's laughter on film, as well as feeling as though someone or something was pressing against them the whole time. Then we have the Palace Hotel, which used to be known as the Palace of Sweets due to the women who used to live there, but many visitors claim these women never left. Well, that is their spirit, of course. They say a woman in blue exposes herself to guests and staff members while the other spirits try to play pranks on other people. And last, we have the Rothschild House, which is Washington's most haunted museum, where the former family members of the home seem to not like having strangers inside of their place. Guests have reported things ranging from slamming doors to seeing some of their former family members in their rooms. Regardless, this town is extremely beautiful, but if you decide to visit, try to avoid some of the ghosts I just mentioned. But it looks like you really can't, because they're everywhere. In the hump of our list, we have the Caddy of Cadborough Bay. Wait, did you think we can escape the Loch Ness Monster? Because we just can't. There's one in every single state. And for Washington, they have the Cadabrosaurus, nicknamed the Caddy. It is said to be a 20-foot serpentine beast that inhabits the northern part of the west coast. It's described as having the head of a horse and the body of a very large eel. Eyewitness reports have been coming in for the past 200 years with 300 different sightings. Even the Inuit people drew this creature on their canoes in hopes they could ward it off once they entered in the water. As with all these Loch Ness Monster hypes, people claim to have found and captured ones, but eventually it gets to a point when you can't even tell what's real and what's fake. So at the end of the day, you guys have to be the judge of that.
There's a whole family of these darn things.
Last year, he shot this video of what looks like a sea monster.
Okay, just keep watching. Now watch. Its head's gonna come out. Its head's gonna pop out. Check this out.
It's blue. So those aren't sea lions. You've seen sea lions. Held up. It's got humps that are.
They're 20 to 30 feet long. They're long, skinny things.
Oh, that is no. What the heck is that?
Number 4, Bigfoot. Yes, the hairy creature has made its way back onto this list simply because this is the state where it was first documented and popularized. To this day, this is the state where the most sightings are recorded, so it's either everyone is just lying in Washington or there may actually be a Bigfoot in their woods. Bigfoot has gained worldwide attention, but for those who don't know, they're basically 7 to 8 feet tall hairy humanoids with extreme strength. To this day, the search for Bigfoot is still a mystery and there has never been solid evidence to prove the general public that such a beast could exist, other than these footprints, but I don't even know if they're real. You could just draw it out with your hand. But hey, if you live in Washington, you have the best chance of actually discovering one, but that outcome would probably not be good for you because they're not that much a friendly creature. Number 3, Tacoma Old City Hall. Serving as City Hall in the early 20th century, this 10-story clock tower is haunted by a single prankster ghost named Gus. Many don't know the origins of this ghost, but it is said that he may have been a former criminal that was held in the building's old city jail and passed away there. So as I mentioned, this building served as City Hall until 1957. This was a time when the City Hall was being neglected, no maintenance, no payments, so eventually the building was too unsafe to work in. Nowadays, visitors of the old City Hall claim that prankster ghosts have taken over the building. For example, Gus is known to toss objects in the air at random, turn on lights on and off, and sometimes he would just completely shatter light bulbs. At one point, the sightings were so frequent, the police believed it was a real person trespassing the property, but upon further investigation, it was discovered that no one was even there. Some even say that Gus haunts the clock tower and they are known to randomly ring the bell every so often, but it's usually at night when the building is completely empty. Number 2, Kel's Irish Pub. Considered to be a family-friendly bar/restaurant, the Kel's Irish Restaurant and Pub is said to be one of the most haunted eateries in the entire nation. To start, the pub is located in the Butterworth building, which is a former mortuary, so you kinda know where this story is going. This would basically mean that the entire building was used to store deceased bodies. Throughout the years, many spiritualists have been brought to the Butterworth building in an attempt to initiate meaningful conversation with alleged spirits who remain there. Nowadays, visitors report sightings of a ghost of a young girl dressed in a scarlet velvet dress there. Others have spotted the ghost of an older gentleman as well, named Charlie, who would just appear at random throughout the entire building. Basically, this means that if you decide to visit this place and eat here, chances are you're probably going to encounter something supernatural, but don't worry, because they say that the spirits here are mainly positive, so not much to worry about, right? Number 1, the 13 Steps to Hell. Built in 1901, the Maltby Cemetery in Woodingville, Washington is said to be one of the go-to cemeteries if you want to experience some sort of paranormal activity. The most famous legend about the cemetery is the story of the 13 Steps to Hell. The stairs appear to lead to nowhere and descended into a ground as they are located in the center of the cemetery. They allegedly led to an underground family tomb. Even though you were only a few feet away, it was said that when you went down the stairs, you abruptly lost the ability to hear anything above you or around you. It is said that if you turn around and face the bottom of the stairs, you could catch a glimpse of hell yourself. Local lore claims that occasionally people would descend down the stairs and just never come back up. Even though the steps were removed many years ago, there are still stories concerning them, and many people don't even know the real mystery behind these steps in the first place. At number 10 spot, we have the Warren Occult Museum. The Warren Occult Museum is a museum located in Monroe, Connecticut. It was founded by paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. You know, the ones from Conjuring? Yeah. It was dedicated for preserving and displaying artifacts related to the supernatural and the occult. As we see in the films, this place has objects ranging from cursed witch voodoo to innocent looking toys with murderous histories. Rightfully so, the Warren Occult Museum is known for its association with its own hauntings. For example, at many different times, the guests and even the Warrens believed that it was haunted by the ghost of the object it contained, no matter how much preparation was made to prevent it from happening. Other visitors claim that the museum is actually haunted by the ghost of Ed Warren himself. The legend says that the ghost of Ed Warren can be seen in the museum and that his presence can be felt by those who enter. Other notable objects in this museum include Annabelle the doll, the Devil Made Me Do It dinosaur toy. At a number 9 spot, we have the Witch of Wooster Square. The Witch of Wooster Square is a ghostly figure that is said to haunt the streets of New Haven. The legend of the Witch of Wooster Square is thought to have originated in the early 1800s when New Haven was a bustling city and Wooster Square was a popular gathering place. At the time, the square was home to many shops, taverns, and other small businesses. However, this was still a time when the witch hysteria was ongoing, so it didn't take long until all the townsfolk accused one lady of being a full-fledged witch. The lady was said to be a very beautiful but also a very mysterious and reclusive person, which just gave more reason to believe that she was hiding something and therefore a witch at the time. Over time, people started to fear her as locals claimed the lady would cast spells and curses on those who crossed her. The legend of the Witch of Wooster Square grew, and people began to claim that they had seen the ghostly figure of a woman on the streets of the square. Some claimed to have seen her floating through the air, but regardless, visitors claim to feel a different type of energy when they're here at this place. At our number 8 spot, we have the Green Lady. The Green Lady is a popular story in Connecticut. According to the legend, the Green Lady was a woman who lived in a mansion in the woods outside of a small town in Connecticut. She was known for her beauty and her love of nature, and she would often be seen walking through the woods wearing a long flowing green dress. However, one day, the Green Lady disappeared without a trace. It is said that her ghost now haunts these woods, still wearing her green dress and looking for her lost love. Some people claim to have seen her standing amongst the trees with a sad and wistful expression on her face. Others have reported hearing her mournful cries in the night. Despite the creepy nature of this story, many people are drawn to the legend of the Green Lady and continue to search for her ghost in the woods of Connecticut. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the story of this is a chilling reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the depths of the forest. At a number 7 spot, we have the New London Ledge Lighthouse. The New London Ledge Lighthouse is a historic lighthouse located in New London, Connecticut. It was situated on a small island at the entrance to the harbor and has been in operation since 1909. There are several scary stories associated with this lighthouse. One of the most famous is the story of a former lighthouse keeper named Captain Richard Phillips. According to the legend, Captain Phillips was a gruff and stern man who was not well liked by the other lighthouse keepers. One night, while he was on duty at the lighthouse, Captain Phillips had a heart attack and passed away. Since his death, many people have reported seeing his ghost still at the lighthouse. Some say that he is seen walking the halls, still carrying out his duties as the lighthouse keeper. Others have reported hearing strange noises and seeing strange lights coming from the lighthouse at night. Despite his ghost, the New London Ledge Lighthouse will always remain a popular tourist attraction and a beloved symbol of New England's maritime history. At our number 6 spot, with the White Lady of Union Cemetery. The White Lady is a ghostly woman who is sent to haunt the Union Cemetery in Easton. According to the legend, the White Lady was a young woman who was tragically killed in a car accident near this cemetery. Ever since, her ghost is said to still be here, appearing as a white-clad figure floating among the graves. Many people have reported seeing the White Lady at this cemetery, and that her ghost is said to be particularly active on foggy nights. Some say that if you see this White Lady, it means someone you know will pass away soon. so best keep your eyes closed if you come here. Others claim that she is a benevolent spirit who brings good luck to those who see her. Over the time, the legend of the White Lady grew, and people began wondering if she was either good or if she was bad. But one thing was for sure, when you come to this cemetery, chances are you'll probably catch a glimpse of her spirit. In the hump of her list were the Litchfield Hills. The Litchfield Hills is a scenic region in northwestern Connecticut known for its rolling hills and charming small towns. Locals claim that Litchfield Hills is actually haunted by the ghost of a woman named Elizabeth. According to the legend, Elizabeth was a woman who lived in Litchfield Hills in the 1800s. After she saw the passing of her children, she was so overcome with grief and despair that she turned to the dark arts to seek revenge on those who wronged her in life. Filled with extreme rage, she ran to these fields and stayed here until she passed away, murdering everyone who walked by. They say that she could still be seen wandering the hills, but as a ghost form, and that her presence can be felt by any of those who encounter her. As well, there's a farmhouse nestled away here that was built in 1790. This house seemed to be a spot for many different paranormal occurrences that even Ed and Lorraine Warren investigated and dubbed it the Ghost Central. At a number 4 spot with the Norwich State Hospital. The Norwich State Hospital was a psychiatric hospital located in Norwich, Connecticut. It was in operation from 1904 to 1996, known for its overcrowding, inadequate staffing, and poor conditions, which included reports of physical and SA of patients. During its time of being active, workers and patients claimed to see the ghosts from inside of these walls, and to this day, people believe these spirits are still here. They are said to be the spirits of the patients who passed away here after being left untreated and not taken care of. They also say sections of the hospital are haunted by the ghost of a nurse who was murdered there by a former patient. As mentioned, the hospital has closed down and many of the buildings were demolished, but the site still holds a reputation for being haunted and is still considered a popular location for ghost hunters, at least around the ruined grounds. Number 3, Devil's Footsteps. The Devil's Footsteps are a mysterious set of footprints that appear and disappear without any explanation in the woods of Danbury. The legend of the Devil's Footsteps is thought to have originated in the 1800s when the woods of Danbury were home to many settlers and farmers. At the time, it was said that a man named John Rugg was walking through the woods when he heard a strange otherworldly voice calling out his name. When he turned to look, he saw a pair of footprints in the snow that were not his own. Over time, the legend of the Devil's Footprints grew, and people began to claim that they seen these mysterious footprints in the woods following behind them. Some said that the footprints would appear and disappear without any explanation, while others claimed that they would hear the voice of the devil calling out their name, and ever since, this has been a mystery. Number 2, Chasing Youth. The Chasing Youth is a spirit that is said to haunt the old Mark Twain house in Hartford. The legend of the Chasing Youth is thought to have originated in the late 1800s when the Mark Twain house was home to the famous writer and his family. At the time, it was said that Twain's wife, Olivia, was plagued by a strange illness that caused her to lose her youth and beauty. In her desperation to regain her youth, it is said that Olivia turned to the dark arts and summoned a spirit known as the Chasing Youth. Over time, the legend of the Chasing Youth grew. Eventually, more and more people would begin seeing this Chasing Youth creature. Some have said that they can still hear the sounds of footsteps and other strange noises inside of this house, and they could also feel the presence of the Chasing Youth even when they couldn't even see her. At a number 1 spot, we have Union Cemetery. Union Cemetery is a historic cemetery located in Easton, Connecticut. The cemetery was established in 1740 and is the final resting place for many of the town's early settlers and notable residents. It is known for its beautiful grounds, historic headstones, and its association with several legends and other ghost stories. One such legend is that of the cemetery is haunted by the ghost of a woman known as the White Lady. Although there are many different variations of this story, here's another one. According to some, the White Lady is a ghostly figure that can be seen walking the cemetery at night, and she is often associated with a particular grave in the cemetery. Another legend associated with this place is that it's haunted by a man who was wrongfully accused and executed for murder. The legend says that the man's ghost can be seen in the cemetery and that his presence can be felt by those who enter, and some visitors claim that they've walked up to him and they've seen him talk, saying that he's asking them for forgiveness. At a number 10 spot, we have the Omagh bombing. The Omagh bombing was a horrific act of violence that occurred in the northern Irish town of Omagh on August 15, 1998. This photograph you see here was taken just before the tragic bombing. Shortly after the photo was taken, a bomb exploded in the red car next to the boy being held on his father's shoulder. Incredibly, both the father and the child survived. But unfortunately, the photographer and 28 others lost their lives from the bomb, and furthermore 220 people were injured. The bombing was carried out by the Real Irish Republican Army, the Real IRA, which is a group that opposed the IRA's ceasefire and the Good Friday Agreement. The bombing sparked outrage both locally and internationally and dealt a severe blow to the dissident Irish Republican campaign. The victims of the attack include people from a variety of backgrounds and ages, including Protestants, Catholics, teenagers, children, and even tourists. Despite the fact that intelligence agencies had information that could have prevented the attack, the information was not shared with the local police, leading to criticisms of their handling of the case and just a really huge facepalm indeed. In 2009, the victims' families won a civil lawsuit against the 4 defendants who were found liable for the bombing. However, despite several trials, no one was ever convicted of the attack. At a number 9 spot, we have the Menendez brothers. At first glance, this may just look like a basketball card of Mark Jackson, and it is. But did you notice anything odd about this? Take a look. Nothing? Well, look to the left side. These 2 men are the Menendez brothers. For those who don't know, this photo was taken days after the brothers had murdered their parents. So we have Mark Jackson and 2 guys who murdered their parents. What a great card. Not really. The Menendez brothers trial was a highly publicized and a dramatic legal case in the United States. The brothers were accused of killing their wealthy parents, and the trial centered around these 2 conflicting explanations for the murders. The defense argued that the brothers acted out of fear for their lives and claiming that their father had subjected them to years of abuse, and if you watch the videos of the brothers explaining this, it's pretty disturbing. So be warned if you do decide to watch. On the other end, the prosecution argued that they committed the murders for financial gain, with the intention of inheriting their father's substantial estates. The first trial resulted in a mistrial because both juries were deadlocked, but in the second trial, the brothers were tried together and were found guilty by a single jury. As a result, they were both sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and now this Mark Jackson playing card will forever be known for something other than basketball. Number 8, Columbine school shooting. Looks like a regular school photo, right? Well, this was taken in 1999 at Columbine High School. And if that name sounds familiar, you should know where this is going. These guys that are seen pretending to hold up a gun are actually the ones who committed one of the worst school shootings in history. On April 20th, 1999, 2 12th graders, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, carried out the attack, killing 12 students and a teacher and injuring 21 others before taking their own lives. This tragedy shook the nation to its core and sparked a nationwide debate about gun control, school security, and the cultural influences that may have contributed to the shooter's motivations. The Columbine massacre was planned over a year by Harris and Klebold, who both had a fascination with guns and explosives. They had hoped to cause widespread devastation and kill as many people as possible. To do this, they also implanted homemade bombs in the school, however, they failed to detonate, leading to the shooting right after it. The attack was carried out with cold efficiency and lasted for over an hour before the shooters took their own lives in the school library. The police response to the incident was heavily criticized, with law enforcement officials being accused of being too slow to intervene and of not responding appropriately to the situation. And unfortunately, this stuff keeps happening today, so it seems like we have learned nothing from this. At our number 7 spot, we have the worst party ever. This photo looks like a regular early 2000s party picture you would take with the boys, but this isn't the case for this one. This photo captures a moment of horror and tragedy frozen in time. The man with the orange cup, Tyler Hadley, had committed a horrific crime just hours before. He had murdered his parents, Blake and Mary Jo Hadley, with a clawed hammer while high on ecstasy. The bodies of his parents were hidden upstairs, wrapped in towels and covered in belongings, while the party raged on below. Tyler had a history of threatening to kill his parents and was known to see with anger whenever they punished him or showed parental authority. Despite this, no one expected him to actually follow through with his threats. But on the day of the murders, he promised the ultimate party, inviting guests via a message on his Facebook page. At the party, he began bragging about his crime, and guests who heard it quickly left or just thought he was lying. But for those who stayed, the reality of what just happened became all too clear. One of the guests, Michael Mandel, was even shown the bodies. Despite this, the party still raged on, with the 2 young men posing for the infamous photo that would later become evidence in Tyler's trial. Eventually, the word of the crime spread and Tyler was arrested the morning after the party. He was sentenced to life imprisonment and the Hadley house was later demolished. This photo remains a haunting reminder of the horrors that can lurk behind closed doors and the dangers of drugs, anger, and a distorted sense of reality. Number 6. The Dutch Girls of Panama. Two young Dutch travelers, Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, set out on a hiking adventure in Panama on April 1st, embarking on the challenging El Pianista Trail. The parents of the girls, who were used to receiving daily texts from the daughters, became worried when they did not hear from them on April 2nd. On April 6th, the parents, along with the police, arrived in Panama to search for the missing girls. Despite a comprehensive 10-day search of the forest, no trace of them was found. It wasn't until 10 weeks later that a major breakthrough was made in the case. A local woman handed in a blue backpack belonging to Froon, which contained personal items such as a camera and their phones. The phone showed evidence of emergency numbers being dialed, but due to the lack of reception, the calls did not go through. Froon's phone died on April 4th, and Kremers' phone was turned on intermittently between the 5th and 11th, but the PIN was entered incorrectly each time. The discovery of the backpack was only the beginning of the mystery. On the camera were 90 flash photos taken before 1 and 4 in the morning, deep within the jungle and in complete darkness. One of the images showed the back of Kremers' head with blood in her hair. 2 months after the backpack was discovered, human remains were found and later confirmed to belong to the two girls through DNA testing. To this day, what really happened to Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon remains a mystery, with speculations ranging from a tragic accident to even foul play. Despite extensive investigations, no clear answers have been found, leaving their families and loved ones searching for closure. In the hub of our list, we have Tina Watson. In a tranquil blue lagoon surrounded by the vibrant coral reefs of the Queensland coast, two scuba divers smile for a photo as they make their way down to the ocean floor. Behind them, a still figure lies in the sand, a testament to the dangers that lurk beneath the surface of even the most serene waters. However, this was the last known photo of Tina Watson, a young woman who had journeyed to the Queensland with her husband Gabe for what was supposed to be a romantic honeymoon. Tina and Gabe were eager to explore the sunken shipwreck of the SS Yongala, a popular dive site known for its challenging currents and breathtaking underwater scenery. Despite being unqualified for the dive, they declined the offer of a guided tour and set out on their own. However, things quickly took a turn for the worse as Tina became entangled in the ropes and sunk to the ocean floor. Gabe claimed to have tried to save her, but his statements were later called into question when it was later revealed that he had asked Tina to increase her life insurance policy and named him as a sole beneficiary before their marriage. Foul play was suspected, and Gabe was eventually charged with manslaughter in Queensland. However, the charges were later dismissed, and he was instead charged in his home country of the United States with planning the murder. Tina's death remains a haunting reminder of the unpredictable dangers of the deep sea and the lengths some will go in the pursuit of money. Number 4. Jolie Callan. On a beautiful sunny day, 18-year-old Jolie Callan stands at the edge of a cliff, taking in the breathtaking view below. Dressed in an oversized red shirt, she gazes over the rolling hills and lush forests of the Pinholda Trail in Chaha State Park, Alabama. She had hiked to the scenic location with her ex-boyfriend, 20-year-old Lauren Bunner, who stood just a few feet behind her. But as Jolie posed for a photo capturing the stunning beauty of the landscape, little did she know that her life was about to be tragically cut short. In a moment of unspeakable violence, Lauren would raise a .22 caliber revolver and shoot Jolie in the head twice before throwing her body off cliffside into the deep ravine below. Jolie and Lauren had been dating for 10 months, but the relationship was very troubled. Jolie had broken up with Lauren because of his controlling behavior and his refusal to allow her to meet with her friends. Despite the breakup, they continued to keep in regular contact and even shared a dog together. But on that fateful day, Lauren invited Jolie on a hike with the intention of taking her life. After the murder, Lauren called the police and turned himself in, confessing to the brutal crime. He was sentenced to 52 years in prison for the murder of his ex-girlfriend. Number 3. A sword attack. On October 22nd, 2015, a horrifying scene took place at the Kronan School in Trollhättan, Sweden. A young man named Antoine Peterson, dressed in a World War II German helmet and a Darth Vader mask. He entered the school with a sword in his hand as well. He targeted 2 students and a teacher immediately, leaving a trail of bloodshed and a tragedy behind him. The first victim was a 20-year-old TA named Levin Eskandar, and he was attacked with the sword and died on the spot. The second student, 15-year-old Ahmed Hassan, was stabbed in the abdomen and later passed away in the hospital. Peterson also killed 42-year-old teacher Nazir Amso, who had asked him to remove his mask. Incredibly, before the violence erupted, 2 students even posed for a photograph with Peterson, thinking he was part of a Halloween prank. When the police arrived, they shot Peterson, who later died from his injuries. The motive behind the attacks remains unknown, but Peterson is said to have shouted, "I am your father," before attacking his victims. Number 2. Moments before disaster. The tragedy of the Beirut explosion on August 4, 2020 will go down in history as one of the most devastating and powerful non-nuclear explosions of all time. The explosion, caused by by the improper storage of ammonium nitrate at the port of Beirut resulted in 181 deaths and thousands of injuries and left 300,000 people homeless. The impact of the explosion was felt as far as Cyprus, Turkey, Syria, and Israel, and caused billions of dollars in damages. In the aftermath of the disaster, a picture was discovered on a photographer's recovered phone. The photograph captures a moment of heroism and bravery as a unit of 10 firefighters tried to break into a warehouse to put out a fire. Unfortunately, the explosion occurred moments later, and all 10 firefighters were swallowed up by the blast. Number 1. A dating game. Rodney James Alcala, also known as the dating game killer, was a notorious serial killer who appeared on the popular TV show The Dating Game in the 1970s, and this was a photo of him taking on the show. Despite his quote-unquote charming exterior, Alcala was a cold-blooded killer who was responsible for the deaths of at least 7 women, although the exact numbers of victims remained unknown. He would strangle his victims to unconsciousness, revive them, and then repeat the process until they eventually died. The scary part about this was that at the time of his appearance in the dating game, Alcala was in the midst of his killing spree, and his dark and sinister nature was not yet known to the public yet. He appeared as a successful photographer and was even able to win a date with bachelorette Cheryl Broadshaw, but she ultimately rejected him, calling him very creepy. Some speculate that this rejection may have fueled his later killings. Despite his brutal crimes, Rodney Alcala was able to evade justice for many years, but eventually he was caught, convicted, and sentenced to death for his crimes. To this day, he remains one of the most notorious serial killers in American history, and his appearance on the dating game is now a chilling reminder of how easily evil can hide behind a mask of normalcy. At a number 10 spot, we have the Tommyknockers. The legend of the Tommyknockers originates from the state of New Mexico. The legend follows a group of miners when they stumbled upon a strange and powerful object buried deep within the earth. As they began to excavate it, they were overcome by its strange energy, which transformed them into these bizarre, violent creatures. These creatures were known as the Tommyknockers and were infamous for their ability to knock on the walls and ceilings of mines, warning other miners to stay away. The legend goes on to say that the Tommyknockers were incredibly powerful, with superhuman strength and the ability to control the minds of those around them. They all roamed the mines, causing destruction and mayhem wherever they went. Despite their fearsome reputation, some believe that the Tommyknockers could be reasoned with, and attempted to communicate with them in order to understand their motivations. While some people, on the other hand, believe that the legend of the Tommyknockers is based on a real event that occurred in New Mexico, which had a bunch of trapped miners. However, others viewed a purely fictional tale. Over the years, many people have come forward to speak about their encounter with the Tommyknocker, which only adds to this creature's mystery more. At a number 9 spot, we have a witch's heart. The legend of the witch's heart in New Mexico tells the story of a powerful witch who lived in the forest near a small village. She was said to be able to cast spells and control the elements, and many people were afraid of her because of that. One day, the witch fell in love with a young man from the village, and she cast a spell on him to make him fall in love in return. The young man, however, did not want to be with this witch and tried to resist her spell at all costs. The witch became very angry and threatened to destroy the village if the young man did not return her love. Talk about needy. The villagers, who were afraid for their lives, pleaded with the young man to give in to the witch's demands, but the young man was brave and refused to give into it. Now the witch was extremely pissed, and she decided to cast a powerful spell that caused the ground to shake and the trees to sway. She summoned a storm that raged for 3 days and 3 nights, causing destruction and chaos throughout the entire village. Finally, the young man, with the help of other villagers, was able to confront the witch and break her spell. The witch's heart was filled with so much anger and hatred that it just turned to stone, and she was never seen again. The villagers say that if you listen closely on a stormy night, you can still hear the witch's heart beating beneath the ground, a reminder of the power of love and the dangers of anger and hatred. At a number 8 spot, we have Haunted Mesa. The legend of the Haunted Mesa in New Mexico dates back to the early 1800s. According to the legend, the mesa was once home to a Native American tribe who lived in harmony with the land and its natural resources. But as time passed by, the tribe grew greedy and began to exploit the land. They would strip it of its resources and cause great harm to the environment because of it. As a punishment for their actions, the spirits of the land rose up and cursed the tribe, causing them to be consumed by a terrible darkness. The tribe was never seen again, and the mesa has been haunted ever since by the spirits of the land. They are said to still roam the area at night, searching for those who dare to desecrate the land. Many people have reported strange and eerie occurrences on the Haunted Mesa, including ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and mysterious lights. Some have even claimed to see the ghosts of the Native American tribe still wandering the mesa in search of redemption. Despite these stories, the haunted mesa remains a popular destination for hikers and adventurers who are drawn to its rugged beauty and eerie atmosphere. Some say the spirits of the land are still watching over the mesa, protecting it from those who would seek to harm it. So if you hike here, stride carefully. At a number 7 spot, we have a Witch's Bridge. The Witch's Bridge is a legendary structure said to be located in New Mexico, although the exact location is unknown. According to the legend, the bridge was built by a woman who was shunned by the community because they believed she was a witch. The woman, who was determined to get her revenge, constructed this bridge using her own blood and bone, imbuing it with dark magic as well. As the story goes, anyone who crosses the bridge will be cursed with bad luck and misfortune for their entire lives. Some say that the bridge is guarded by the spirit of the witch, who emerges at night to haunt and terrorize hikers. Others believe that the curse can only be lifted by performing a complex ritual at the side of the bridge. Despite the legend, there is actually no evidence of a bridge matching the description in New Mexico. It is likely the story is a tall tale or a piece of folklore, rather than a true account of events. However, that does not stop people from being intrigued by the legend and people going out searching for this bridge. At a number 6 spot, we have a man in the black hat. The man in the black hat is a mysterious figure who is said to haunt the deserts of New Mexico. Some say that the man in the black hat was a gunfighter or a bandit who roamed the desert, preying on travelers and settlers who ventured too far from civilization. Others claim that he was a ghost or a spirit haunting the land and seeking revenge on those who had wronged him in life. Despite the many different variations of the legend, one thing remains constant. The man in the black hat was a fearsome and dangerous figure, feared by all those who came in contact with him. He is said to wear a black hat, a long coat, and a pair of guns by his side, and was said to be incredibly fast and extremely deadly with a gun. There's even one story of him single-handedly defeating a group of 10 raiders in less than a minute in an attempt to just save some settlers. Despite his heroic deeds, however, the man in the black hat was never seen again, and his fate remains a mystery to this day. Some say that he simply vanished into the deserts, never to be seen again, while others believe that he met his end at the hands of another enemy. Maybe he finally found peace and moved on to the afterlife. Haven't we thought about that? In the hump of our list, we have the hanging tree. The legend of the hanging tree in New Mexico dates back to the 1800s, when the area was a wild and lawless frontier. According to the legend, the hanging tree was a large tree located in the center of town, where criminals and outlaws were brought to justice by being hanged from its sturdy branches. The most famous story associated with the hanging tree is that of a notorious outlaw named Billy the Kid, who is said to have been hanged from the tree after being captured by a posse of vigilantes. Despite its reputation as a place of justice and punishment, the hanging tree was also said to be cursed, and many people believe that anyone who were hung from this tree would be doomed to haunt the town for eternity. Over the time, the tree became a symbol of fear and dread, and people avoided it at all costs, even during the day. Eventually, the town decided to cut down the hanging tree and burn it to the ground in an effort to rid the town of its dark history and the supposed curse that was said to be associated with it. Today, all that remains of the hanging tree is a small plaque on the spot where it once stood. At a number 4 spot, we have a witch's ladder. The legend of the witch's ladder in New Mexico tells the story of a powerful witch who lived in the mountains and was known for casting spells and curses on those who crossed her. One day, a group of travelers stumbled upon her cabin and asked for shelter for the night. The witch agreed, but she secretly cast a curse on them. Desperate to break the curse, the travelers sought help from a wise woman who told them that they must climb to the top of the mountain and gather a handful of the witch's hair in order to break the curse for good. The travelers managed to do this, but the witch chased after them using all the spells she knew. Using the hair as a talisman, the travelers outran the witch and made their way back down the mountain, where they burned the hair and finally broke the curse. From that day on, the mountain was known as the Witch's Ladder. Despite the fact that the legend of the Witch's Ladder is just a story, it continues to be told and retold in the American Southwest, reminding us of the power and determination and the importance of standing up to those who seek to do us harm. At number 3 spot, we have the Curse of the Full Moon. The Curse of the Full Moon is a popular tale told to many in New Mexico, and it involves a powerful medicine man who placed a curse on the land to protect it from the actions of early European settlers. The legend goes that the medicine man was a powerful shaman who had the ability to communicate with the spirits of the land land and the animals that live there. He was deeply connected to the natural world, and he would have a great reverence for the land and its inhabitants. However, when the European settlers arrived, they began to disregard the sacredness of the land and its inhabitants. They would cut down trees, hunt down the animals, and they would pollute the waters. The medicine man was outraged by the settlers' actions, and he decided to curse the land with a very powerful spell. And whenever the moon was full, the curse was said to be at its strongest, causing even more misfortune for those who dared to defy the spirits. Over time, the legend became well known throughout the region, and this is when people began to fear the power of the spirits and the curse. At a number 2 spot, we have the ghost lights. The legend of the ghost lights in New Mexico dates back to the time of the Native Americans who inhabited the region. According to the legend, the ghost lights were spirits of the dead who roamed the earth in search of their loved ones. These spirits were said to be the souls of warriors who were killed in battle, or of women and children who had died of disease or other natural causes. The ghost lights were said to appear as glowing orbs of light that floated through the air, moving silently and without any apparent direction. Many people have claimed to have seen the ghost lights and described them as eerie and unsettling, and some even reported feeling a sense of fear or dread when the lights were present. Despite this, however, many people also found that the ghost lights to be fascinating and mysterious, and they often went out of their way to try and catch a glimpse of these elusive spirits. In the recent years, the legend of the ghost lights in New Mexico has taken on a new dimension, with some people claiming to have captured video footage or photographs of the light. So if you guys want to see, go search it up on Google, and I promise you, you'll find one photo with it. At a number 1 spot, we have the Taos hum. The Taos hum is a mysterious low-frequency sound that has been reported in the town of Taos, New Mexico. It is described as a faint droning sound that is similar to the hum of a distant engine or the drone of a bee. Some people claim to hear the hum constantly, while others hear it occasionally. The source of the Taos hum is unknown, and there are many theories about what could be causing it. Some believe that it is a natural phenomenon caused by geological activity or atmospheric conditions. Others speculate that it is the result of human activities such as underground military bases or secret experiments. One of the most popular theories of this is caused by aliens. According to the theory, the hum is a signal or communication from an extraterrestrial civilization. Some people even claim to have experienced strange encounters or sightings of unidentified flying objects in the area where the hum is heard. Despite the many theories, no one has been able to definitely explain the Taos hum. The phenomenon remains a mystery and continues to fascinate and intrigue those who have experienced it. Some even claim that the hum has a strange, almost hypnotic effect on those who hear it, causing them to feel disoriented or dizzy.